is a simple three-phase motor that we modeled after Creative Think. We just made a few changes. So we created this in Onshape, and this is our stator. This is the shaft created where the magnets are going to go, so that's going to be the rotor. I have printed these off, so we just went in and then exported these out. Right now they're just STLs. Here's our print. We're going to go take the supports off. This one didn't need any support. These are 16 millimeter outer diameter, and the inner diameter is 8, so that it'll fit the shaft. So this shaft is 135 millimeters long. These magnets that I already have fit down in here, these are 40 millimeters long, and they are 10 wide and 4 millimeters thick. Right, so we got that one at south. So I need this next one at north. All right, so this one's gonna go in like that, north. I want it to be south. Okay, so it's gonna go in like that, to be north. All right, so it's gonna go in like that. North, I'm just letting it go back to normal. South, north. I'm just going to do a couple of tests because I really want to make sure I got it right. All right, some of these supports on the ones that I created are pretty easy to just pull off. So I'm just going to break that off with my knife, and then I should be able to push most of that out of it. So right here where the supports were touching, we may have to clean that out to get the bearing to fit in there. So this bearing, now this one may go in by just pressing it in. There we go. We've got it pressed down in there now. So we just took that, put this other larger bearing, just something that'll fit in there that's flat, and it doesn't have to be a bearing, and then you can press it down with a larger pair of pliers. Just be careful, you wouldn't want to do it on this side because you could break that piece. We're going to take our rotor, we're going to place it in there. So it's going to press it up against here. We're just going to keep pressing till it goes all the way through. Pull it back just a little bit. We'll just make sure it's free moving. Changes I made to this, you don't have to glue all these together. That can go on there. You can bring it out some. And then run that down with an Allen wrench, and then bring that back in. And what that'll prevent is that sliding around. And I made it so that it wouldn't, if it locks on here, it wouldn't rub up against the stator and slow down the rotation. But not necessary, you don't have to have that. So this is the wire I'm using, and it is 18 American wire gauge. So that's your size there if you're looking for the gauge, or 1.02 millimeters thick. Now you can wire this directly from your spool, but I already have some that are the length that I want. I'm gonna run it through here. That's how I'm gonna start it. So this is gonna be AN. So I'm gonna wrap it around this coil, and then at the end of it, I'm gonna leave a couple of inches. I'm gonna come over and go through here before I start the next one. And that'll be our A out, going to the next coil. I'm gonna start wrapping this, but I want it to be long enough, so I'm gonna pull that out slightly so I have some extra. And I'm gonna run that along, and I'm gonna try to keep that fairly tight. And I'm gonna do 50 windings. But you wanna make these nice and tight and fairly uniform, as good as you can. So that's why I'm kind of squeezing those in and stacking them. Okay, now I have enough windings, and you wanna do a good job on these windings. Keep them fairly uniform, don't get sloppy on those. So what I'm gonna do, so you notice there's a hole right there. Same as the hole that I put the A in on. Now I'm gonna take the A out and run it through there, just for now. I mean, it's gonna stay there, but it'll kind of lock it into place. So there's our A in, and I'm gonna run it down there. So this is gonna be our A out. All right, so this bottom one here that we started with, that's the one I was holding on to when I started. We'll mark that is A in. And then we'll mark this other one here as A out. We're going to start the next one on this one here. So we're also going to run it through here, and we'll start the B in. We'll wrap it around, and then we'll bring B out over here. One thing that I've noticed as I'm doing this, since we just did A in and A out, once we do C, we're going to have a real hard time fitting it down into that hole because these wires are going to take up space. I just drilled a hole here, but if you don't want to have to do that, leave a little piece of wire, maybe 2 or 3 inches long, maybe wrap it around there so that when you get to that part, you could pull through the new wire. Just to the left of that one. This is where we're going to start our B in, and you could label that now if you wanted to. You don't have to. I'm going to pull a little bit more than that to get it started, and then pull that nice and tight. So you're just repeating the process you did on A, but now for B, and try to keep it fairly uniform. Now what you'll notice is as you do these windings, sometimes you'll come over here and you'll have to restart that. So always check it as you get around and make sure it's clearing those. This was our B in, that's the one we started with. Now we're going to wrap around B out. So there was B in, that's what we started with. And then we routed B out, that's the one we ended the coil with, through that little hole there. All right, there's B in, there's B out, the one we ended with. And now we're going to start C coil through the hole there. So if I can pull that out. Will leave us enough to work with. It's not going to be as easy to manipulate as the smaller diameter wire. Squeeze that together for the first few coils to get it to kind of lock in the way you want it to. Okay, so now we've finished C. So we're going to run it through. That's where I had to drill that hole. This is C in, that's where we started, where I put my thumb down and started the coil. This right here is C out. I'm just taking the tape off so that I know the other ones are ins. And that is A out. So this is an enameled wire. Make a good connection. So I'm just going to scrape some of that wire up. Pretty tight. Not too tight so that you break the wire though. So this is A in. This is B in. And this is going to be our C in. The ones that we joined, those were the outs. So that's A, B, C, out. Joined together. These are the ins. So this is going to be A, B, and C in, and we've cleaned off the enamel. So before you hook this up, make sure it's free moving, like it's not coming in contact with anything, coils aren't touching it. Power source here, this would be your battery. If you don't have a charger powered by this, I have 31 volts at 10 amps. So we have it connected. There's our ground, there's our positive. Moving the control, so you have your 3 power sources here. And we're going to hook those up, and we may have to move those around to find out how they should be hooked up. We're just going to hook that in, and then we're going to power this up, and we will see if it runs. Go ahead and turn it on. Now I'm going to turn that back off for just a second. I'm going to move my microphone down there so you can hear this. So I'm going to turn it on again. So you should hear something similar to that when you hook up your speed controller. All right, so let's go ahead and turn that on. Oh, there we go. So we've got it powered up. I'll turn that so you can kind of see the magnets rotating. I'll bring that up a little closer, and we'll still move these connections around and see if it works better in a certain configuration. Yeah, so I'm not sure how many RPMs. It's not much, but at least we have a working motor. So this saves you from a lot of work You don't want to have to solder these connections. If you have a power source like this where you can just hook it up, do that first before you spend all the time soldering, because you may have something wrong that needs to be changed, and that'll save you a lot of time. Ooh. Woo-hoo! That didn't sound right, does it? So we probably don't want green there, so something's off. If we have the green right, the center one. I wish I could tell which way that's going. I'm trying to turn it down. So, whoa, did you see that? That was way faster. I may be overpowering it. When I go at this lower setting, I got a better RPM there. Oh, wow, that is way faster. That'll get a lot of RPMs there. I'd like to measure those RPMs. Anyway, this is a good starting point. This is where we'll end this video.